We have moved, Madam, from a discretionary-based administration to a policy and system-based administration. From favoritism to transparency and objectivity in decision-making. From blanket and loose entitlements to targeted delivery, and from an informal to a formal economy. Inflation, which was in double digit, has been controlled. Sluggish growth has been replaced by high growth, and a massive war against black money has been launched. We have worked tirelessly on all these fronts and feel encouraged by the unstinted support to the people by our initiatives. The government is now seen as a trusted custodian of public money. I take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the people of India for their strong support. We shall continue to undertake many more measures to ensure that the fruits of growth reach the farmers, the workers, the poor, the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes, women and other vulnerable sections of our society. Our focus will be on energizing our youth to reap the benefits of growth and employment. Madam Speaker, I am presenting this budget when the world economy faces considerable uncertainty in the aftermath of the major economic and political developments during the last 1 year. Nevertheless, the International Monetary Fund estimates that the world GDP will grow by 3.1% in 2016 and 3.4% in 2017. The advanced economies are expected to increase their growth from 1.6% to 1.9% and emerging economies from 4.1% to 4.5%. As per the current indications, macroeconomic policy is expected to be more expansionary in certain large economies. Growth in a number of emerging economies is expected to recover in 2017 after relatively poor performance in 2016. There are positive signs and point to an optimistic outlook in the next year. There are, however, three major challenges for emerging economies. First, the current monetary policy stance of the United States Federal Reserve to increase the policy rates more than once in 2017 may lead to lower capital inflows and higher outflows from emerging economies. Second, the uncertainty around the commodity prices, especially that of crude oil, has implication on the fiscal situation in emerging economies. It is, however, expected to increase, if any, in the oil prices would get tempered by quick response from the producers of shale gas and oil. This would have a sobering impact on the prices of crude and petroleum. Third, in several parts of the world, there are signs of increasing retreat from globalization of goods, services and people as pressures for protectionism are building up. These developments have the potential to affect the exports from a number of emerging economies, including India. Amidst all these developments, India stands out as a bright spot in the world economic landscape. India's macroeconomic stability continues to be the foundation of our economic success. Favorable price developments reflect prudent macroeconomic management, resulting in higher agricultural production, especially in pulses. India's current account deficit declined from about 1% of the GDP last year to 0.3% of the GDP in the first half of 2016-17. Foreign direct investment increased from 1,07,000 crores in the first half of last year to 1,45,000 crores in the first half of 2016-17. This marks an increase of 36% despite 5% reduction in global FDI inflows. Foreign exchange reserves have reached 361 billion US dollars as on 20th January 2017, which represents a comfortable cover of about 12 months of imports. The government has also continued with the steady path of fiscal consolidation without compromising on public investment requirements of the economy. Externally, the economy successfully weathered a number of shocks: the redemption of the FCNR deposits, volatility from the US elections, and the Fed rate hike. According to the IMF, India is expected to be one of the fastest growing major economies in 2017. A number of global reports and assessments over the last 2 years have shown that India has considerably improved its policies, practice and economic profile. These are reflected in the Doing Business report of the World Bank, World Investment Report 2016 of the UNCTAD, Global Competitiveness Report of 2015-16 and 16-17 of the World Economic Forum, and several other reports. India has become the 6th largest manufacturing country in the world, up from the 9th position previously. We are seen as an engine of global growth. In the last 1 year, our country has witnessed historic and impactful economic reform and policy making. In fact, India was one of the very few economies undertaking transformational reforms. There are two tectonic policy initiatives, namely the passage of the Constitutional Amendment Bill for the GST and the progress for its implementation, and the demonetization of the high denomination banknotes. The advantages of the GST for our economy in terms of spurring growth, competitiveness, indirect tax simplification, greater transparency have already been extensively discussed in both houses of Parliament. I thank all members of both houses for having passed the Constitution Amendment unanimously. I also thank the state governments for resolving all the relevant issues in the GST Council. Demonetization of high denominational banknotes was a continuation of a series of measures taken by our government during the last 2 years. It is a bold and decisive measure. Yes. For several decades, tax evasion for many had become a way of life. This compromises the larger public interest and creates an unjust enrichment in favor of the tax evader to the detriment of the poor and the deprived. This has bred a parallel economy which is unacceptable in an inclusive society. Demonetization seeks to create a new normal wherein the GDP would be bigger, cleaner and real. The exercise is a part of our government's resolve to eliminate corruption and black money, counterfeit currency and terror funding. Like all reforms, this measure is obviously disruptive as it seeks to change the retrograde status quo. Drop in economic activity, if any, on account of currency squeeze during the remonetization period is expected to have only a transient impact on the economy.